My name is Jeni Long. I'm a 25-year educator. I taught 4th through 6th grade math and ELA for about 10 years, and then I transitioned into instructional technology, which was my favorite thing ever, for about 15 years. And then about 2 years ago, I joined MagicSchool. So been here from the beginning, and it's been a wild ride and so much fun to see all the change and growth. But yeah, it's been awesome.
2 years?
Almost 2 years, yeah.
When, do you recall the date?
I do actually. It was in the fall. It was really in the fall, early like August, September.
Holy cow.
I started part-time.
That's just around the corner.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
You did start part-time.
So I was like I go back and forth. I was either number 5 or 7. But they were like drowning, and I just reached out because I joined the community, and then I just said, hey, I think you should hire me to run your community and help with social media and events, because I have been to a lot of events and presented, and kind of the conference circuit is kind of my jam. So they said, well, we'll try it part-time and see how it goes. You know, we're just a small, scrappy team. We can't really hire you full-time.
Ooh.
So I was like, okay.
2 years later,
yeah.
you guys
Well, actually, it was like a month later, and then Adil called me up, and he said, hey, do you want to work full-time? I was like, sign me up. Where do I go?
It's a wrap. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, welcome again to the show. This is like 4th or 5th time that you've been on the show.
I love
every
it.
time we chat about something that is a hot topic to both of us, something that we're passionate about, and obviously we're here to talk about MagicSchool, which is something that we're both passionate about as well. So first and foremost, thank you for the sponsorship of these episodes that are recorded at the Elementary Technology Conference 2025. It's crazy. And then also, doesn't apply to you because this is after the fact, but Trivia Night 2025.
Excited.
Yeah, super excited. As am I, and my wife is attending and everything, and we've got everything going. So big shout out to both you and Kendall for getting that going with me. So I'm excited, and enough about that.
Yeah, it's also weird too, because like the last time I was here, Salih was with me. So
that's right.
It's a weird feeling to kind of, be here without her, and which, getting used to that. But it was last time I was here, we were presenting together, and so a lot changes.
And you guys had a certain way that you turned and high five. You had to be at the right angle.
I had to be on a certain side and do our thing.
I remember that. I definitely remember that. So, how many users does MagicSchool now have? I mean, last time I don't want to say checked, but last time I was going through some of my older episodes, I was actually a year ago today going through the episodes from the Elementary Technology Conference 2024, and I believe the ad read that I read was 1.5 million.
Probably, yeah.
Do you recall what you guys are at now?
We're over 6 million. Yeah, it's funny because I was going through some old like flyers in the garage that I had that printed from other conferences, and I was like 5,000. No, I think this one said like around 1,500. I think it was one like that, and I was like, well, I need to throw that away.
6 million?
6 million. Yeah, it changes all the time. It changes all the time.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Wow. And then I had a conversation with Andrew Davies over at Georgia Educational Technology Conference this past November. And there were 64 tools, something like that. But that has grown even more. And then now you guys have the Magic Student tools that are built in. So you guys have gone from this idea of what AI in education can do to now let's put it in the hands of the students. And that, so in the 2 years that you've been there, from the back end that we don't see, how fast are things changing? How fast are things improving? And what is that rate? How is that going?
It's so fast. I mean, and I, coming from education, I don't work with engineers. I don't really understand all of that terminology and words and way over my head, but like.
You just nod your head.
Oh my gosh, I'm like, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great.
Our engineering team is amazing. And I think one of the things that speaks volumes is that we listen to user feedback. Like anytime there's a suggestion or an idea, like send it. And then internally in our Slack, it's like, oh, let's make that change. Whatever is going to be the best experience for our users and for our students, like that's what we want to have happen. And we want that feedback because we can only be better by, hearing those suggestions and things. So, and I love that we have our pioneer and our ambassadors because that's where we get a lot of the feedback as well. And they're kind of like our our ears out there and our doers, speaking and presenting and putting it into action. And so the feedback that they have is fabulous.
What's the size of that group right now?
Well, now that I don't really manage it anymore, I'm not really sure.
You don't?
No, so Amber Trout manages our community and Andrew. So they do. So Andrew does a little more like the social media piece. Where Andrew,
the video pieces.
Amber kind of manages, which now we have ambassadors, which is kind of like a tiered, level of engagement and everything. So it's kind of sad. But I do join all the meetings and things like that, and try to, of course, I'll stay connected to our OG pioneers and everything.
Absolutely.
But I love it. It's grown so much. So I don't know. That's a good question. I should get the actual number
that would
where
be
we're
interesting.
At.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, we were at like 5,000 pioneers.
That is
I know that's
an insane statement to say. Back in the day, we were at 5,000. It's crazy to see what that number is going to be now.
It is crazy. It is crazy.
Wow. Now, you just presented a session on MagicSchool.
I did.
What did you present, if you don't mind me asking?
Just kind of how to get started. And Albert joined me, so he's one of our new solution engineers, architects. Have a couple different names. Basically, amazing at customizing and helping schools and districts implement MagicSchool, in the implementation process. And so we kind of shared how to get started. The room was kind of filled with some new users. So, when you've got, just like in your classroom, different levels of ability. So we kind of have to start easy and tell them exactly, where they can go with the platform. There's so much. You say, now we have 80, 85 tools, whatever that number is, but every one of our tools can be customized to be something else. So you could create 1,000 tools on your dashboard if you wanted. It's basically, sky's the limit. So. It's hard to define a number now because I have so many tools that are either enterprise customized tools or individual customized tools that I've made too.
Okay, so with that being said, I'm glad you touched upon the tools right now. I usually have this conversation with educators a lot. I actually had it with Andrew in Georgia that one time. Top 3 tools. If you had to pick your top 3 MagicSchool AI tools. Like your go-tos.
Well,
or even if I was back in the classroom, here would be my 3 go-tos right now.
I mean, my go-to, just because I'm demoing multiple times a day, and then the ones I always go to, and it seems to be our team's number 1 tool is the lesson plan tool. Just because we all have to create lesson plans, right, as educators. And what I love about the lesson plan tool is you can customize it, again, to align it to your school or district needs. Because if you have certain things in your lesson plan that are a requirement,
5E
exit
model.
ticket, or if you're using some certain framework or whatever, you can customize it to always include those things. Ours might not.
Yeah.
You can put that in the verbiage, but if you go into the customized section, you can make it always, have that output. So it's really nice for like district leaders and curriculum leaders to really get in and help refine that to be very specific.
So the lesson plan tool.
Assessment tool, I love the assessment tool. Usually I see jaws drop when I show that you can make a 20-question assessment and in 2 clicks send it to Google Forms and it's ready to go. Like, teachers are like, what? That just saved me so much time. And it auto grades because the answers are already selected and everything. So that's huge. Our student support tools are incredible, like our accommodation suggestions. We have students of all levels in our classroom being able to write IEPs and, come up with different ways to differentiate in your classroom and support your students. Translation is available. There's just so many. I love the rubric tool too. That's a fun one.
Okay, that's one of mine right there.
Yeah,
so
I love it. And I always demo a rubric, and I got this from Andrew. Then he adds a column for teacher comments and just shows that, how it quickly edits that. And then having a middle school son, well, I don't know what their language.
He's middle school already?
He's going to be in 8th grade.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Then he's your youngest.
Yes. But like the ways they talk, all those weird words, skibbity, bruh, all that stuff, right? But so if you do your rubric and you rewrite it in middle school slang, it will rewrite it in their language. Like, how cool is that? If I am a middle school student and I got a rubric sent to me that's in my words, you'd get some pretty good brownie points, points from your class. So making that content relevant, right, to our students and validating where they are. They are crazy creatures in middle school, but to meet them on their level, like, that's pretty powerful.
Being that your role is, what is your title?
Account executive. For North Texas schools and districts, yeah.
So Jeni makes a call.
And party planner.
Trivia planner. So
all the events.
Jeni makes a call to a district, has a meeting, and the point of contact is like, nope, we're not using AI in our district. There's no place for that and for our students or our staff even right now. Have you had those conversations? Or have you found that for the most part, at least, they're embracing it or allowing it for at least for faculty and staff?
I think those conversations are the fewer. It is definitely more of like, we want to provide something for our staff. We want to save them time. Like, I really appreciate schools and districts when I get that, message from them. I'm like, you guys are awesome. I want to come work for you. Not really, but I mean, but you know what I'm saying? Like for leadership to value something that's going to help their teachers, like that speaks volumes. I mean, I've had multiple districts that are like, we're buying this because we want to give a gift to our staff and we want to help them. We want to meet them where they are. And, but educators can use pretty much any kind of AI. There's all kinds of things out there. But when it comes to students, like for districts that see the value in implementing it with students, that's gold. And if they're not, I like to have those conversations. Like, why? What are you afraid of? What are the barriers? Is there an opportunity where I can just show you what we offer? Because I think it's that fear factor. And if we can get beyond the fear, but a lot of times it's too, they're still having their committees, they're writing their policy. Like there's just still a progression. Yeah. But at what point are you going to realize that if you don't get on the train now, or on the bus, I should say, then you're going to...
The Magic School bus.
The Magic School bus. Then you're going to be... Your kiddos are going to be left behind.
Yeah. Disservice. That's how I talk about it with AI. It's, your son's in 8th grade. In 4 years, he's going to be competing for a spot at a college, a university, military, or... somewhere in some sort of educational institution or a job or for a career. And if he doesn't have those AI literacy skills, he's at a disadvantage that with somebody who is. Right. So, and you guys now have all those student tools built in that it's a lot safer. I mean, you're doing it in that controlled sandbox. Schools are not ready, districts are not ready, at least the schools in Texas that I've had communication with and other states in that they're not ready to just open AI for students quite yet. We're almost there, but not quite. A year and a half ago, it was like, no, wait, we're not doing this. But that Magic Student component has really opened the doors as to what AI literacy could look like and what AI student use could look like. For someone who's unfamiliar with those AI student tools, what does Magic School offer as far as student tools to help teachers prepare their students?
We have over 50 tools that they can create an experience for students, and then they pick the tools. So the kids don't just access the AI without the teacher giving them a link or a QR code or Google Classroom integration, some kind of way to access it. And then they can customize, again, all of the tools. So I love, I was a ELA teacher and math teacher, but I loved reading The Giver. So if I was reading The Giver, I would create an experience where my students had a chat bot and they could talk to Jonas from the book and they could engage in conversation, ask any of the questions that when you read a book, it opens your mind to all kinds of questions, right? So why not be able to chat with the character or chat with the author or talk to somebody in history? You can engage in these conversations, but that also includes teaching our students that this is not real, right? So you have to have those conversations.
Raina is not a real person.
Yeah. But I would create, I'd give them a character chatbot, I'd give them a writing feedback tool. So when they're writing, obviously there's going to be a writing component in some activity we do. Then I've added a rubric, I've added maybe some star writing rubric, something in there. I've given them some parameters, and then they get feedback instantly on their writing. So that instant feedback is crucial. I'd give them a research tool. You can create any experience for them with our tools, and you can customize too. So if I wanted to give them a tutoring bot, I can make that tutoring bot aligned to any content that I'm teaching. So, there's fun ones too. There's joke generators. Yeah. There's the
song.
There's a podcast outline. There's a debate partner. So you can get really creative. And Andrew does a really good job at going and using Raina to create these awesome prompts that then he'll put into a custom chatbot for the students and create like the Oregon Trail game or choose your own adventure. So really like making learning fun, but then the students are just interacting with those questions and it can, give them different outputs.
I had a conversation with him and not too long after, maybe about a month and a half ago, I was planning with the 7th grade ELAR team, I want to say, at one of my campuses. And I ended up building this digital breakout where one of the puzzles was they had to read a piece of text, and then from that piece of text, they had to basically identify the genre, but they had to interact with the chatbot, the custom chatbot that I built in Magic Student, so that when the students inputted the correct genre and answered questions about how it is that genre, the reasons why, the justification behind why it was historical fiction or whatever, the chatbot turned around and gave them the clue to unlock the next one. So cool. And it's like you said, it's all customizable.
Yeah.
It's all what you think, what you see, and how you can execute it with
and coming up with that idea for that activity. I mean, maybe you are that bright, because I'm sure you are, Gabe. But, I mean, like, to come up with the details and the way to implement that, like...
Surprising coming from me, right?
Oh, no, I wouldn't be able to. But, like, going to Raina and saying, this is my idea.
Yeah.
Help me come up with the directions and the steps for this, you know? Because that takes a lot
It took a long time for me to program that chatbot. And I had to keep telling it, whatever the students say, do not give them the answer until the X, Y, and Z.
But that's so cool. But being able to have Raina help you like develop that, like it would have probably taken you way longer if you were trying to do it on your own, without that assistance from. That's why I love Raina. Raina is my BFF, right? So I have a shirt that says it.
For somebody who doesn't know who Raina is, who is Raina?
Oh, well, Raina is our standalone chatbot. So all the tools are, things we think educators would need to use, but if there's not a tool that is like, you're like, man, I need a seating chart, or I wish I could make a master schedule. There's not a tool for that yet. Then you can go to Raina and you can just have a conversation with Raina. So it's just your chatbot that you can ask any questions. You can upload documents to. There's different models like fastest, smartest, thinking. And then we even have web search now that we've added, so it can make it like real time. What's the score to the game last night or whatever? Or what's the rainfall percentage or whatever? It was 100%
last night. I'll tell you that right now.
While I was walking back from Walmart, I felt it all. So Raina is just your best friend, and so we even have a shirt that says Raina is my BFF. But will help you to even come up with the ideas and things for the custom bots, and then what's great about Raina is when you're in the tools, she's living in the output that you get to kind of give you more suggestions again. So like you make a lesson plan and then she says, well, hey, have you thought about some misconceptions that students might have about this concept? So continuing to help you build on whatever you're trying to create.
Okay, so I'm a tech director. Been hearing a lot about this MagicSchool AI. Thinking about it. Maybe I have a call with you, and one of my first set of questions to you is, hey, FERPA, COPA,
GDPR,
student data privacy. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so we are very, very safe. We check all the boxes for all of those. We're compliant with all of those safety parameters, and we also got a 93% safety rating from Common Sense Privacy.
Really?
So most people are familiar with Common Sense Media, and so they have a sister company, Common Sense Privacy, that kind of did a rating and checkbox of all the things. ChatGPT got a 48%. So to compare,
really?
So safe, your data is safe. We don't ask for any personal information. It's just very, very safe, and especially for a school setting, that speaks volumes.
From the eyes of a director, from the perspective of a director, somebody who has to answer to executives and the community. That's big.
And we have partnerships with various large language models to where when you are using MagicSchool, the data that you put into the platform is not being used to train those models. Where that's not the case if you were to use them separately.
Yes.
So if you were to go out and use them separately, you're training ChatGPT, right? But we, have some powering from that platform, but the data is not being used to train like it is with
I'm glad you
ChatGPT.
brought that up because, one of the things that we preach all the time in my particular position as an instructional technology specialist is you don't put in personal identifiable information into large language models or anything with AI. But you guys have like an IEP generator and a BIP plan and all that stuff. And for some of those things, including like the family email responder, you almost have to put in that information. What does MagicSchool do with that? Does it strip it out? Like, how does that work?
Couple different things. One, like let's say the IEP generator, for instance, we don't ever ask for a name. It will just say describe the behavior or give some characteristics. So then when the output is created for you, it has like brackets around student name. So it's letting you put in that. So a placeholder. So we don't really say student name. We're not asking that. If you were to accidentally put it in, we can retract that data. If you let us know, we can make sure and pull that out. Yep.
Did not know that.
Yep. So that's a benefit.
Okay.
So even on, what was the other one? You said letters of...
The family email.
Yeah. So again, it's just more of a template where it's going to say, give me the information. Same thing with letters of recommendation. So you give me this, sheet that has all the great things you've done. I'm just going to put in the things. I'm not going to say your name. And then when I get the output, I'll put your name in for that, specifics for you. So
if I do accidentally put something in, I could just send an email, give you a call and say...
Yeah.
And then you guys will...
Yeah.
Really?
And we do have a new data tool that's in beta right now. So you can upload large data files and things like that. And it will actually scrub out the PII. And then it will give you back the information. So even if you can't, or you miss some things pulling it out, it will, kind of pull it out as well. Before it gives you back the
Very
the
interesting. Very interesting.
It's very safe.
Yeah.
It's just, and the outputs you're gonna get are more are educationally focused, not the wild, wild west or whatever.
Yeah, I have those conversations with educators all the time, and they'll ask me, why do I need to use a tool like MagicSchool when I could use like ChatGPT? And my response is, with ChatGPT, Claude, or any of those large language models, you have to be a prompt engineer. With MagicSchool, it knows you're an educator. It's coming to you as an educational consultant / thought partner, not a chef, a business owner, a lawyer, or whatever. So you take that component out, and you have those drop downs. Third grade, ELA. This is my state. Here's my objective. Boom, and it knows. It just starts grabbing that information.
It makes it really easy, for someone that is fearful or is struggling, so you've got the scaffold approach there where you can go in, and then we provide exemplars, so there's examples of every way to use the tool. So you can just click that and it loads it for you and just kind of shows you how to use the tool. And you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So we're really big on the AI literacy, making sure that we have training you and information. We've got courses, we've got certification courses.
How many? I was just about to get into that. How many courses do you guys have now? There's so many.
There are, and Andrew's updating them all. So I think that's one of his projects this summer is making, because job security for sure, because things have to be updated and changed all the time, right? Yeah. Like the numbers and the platform changes. Like we just moved some things that were on the left-hand side over to the top corner, so now our screenshots all look different. But that's part of it, right? Like things change and evolve and progress. And so we have 4 courses on just how to use the platform, and then we have one on our Adobe partnership. So we have an exclusive partnership with Adobe. And then we have 2 courses on how to use it with students. So when you're ready for that, or your district's ready. And then we have one for students to go through. Yeah. And with all of these courses, you get a certificate. So some districts will give you hours, for completing them.
CPE hours here in the state of Texas.
But then for your students, how cool is that for them to go through the course and then have their little certificate?
Micro-credentialing.
Yeah. And then we have 2 for district leaders. So the leaders can go through on how to do all that back-end management.
I didn't know. Might have to check that out.
Yes, you need to do those for sure.
I like that. Awesome. How can people learn more and get connected and get started?
Basically, social media would be my first place to go, because I am finding lately, I'm like, oh, are you on Instagram or you follow us? They're not. And maybe it's just you don't naturally think to follow companies. But if you are on TikTok or any social media, follow us, because like Andrew's making amazing videos all the time on how to use things in a creative way. So social media for sure. You can just go to the Magic School website. There's a little question box, little guy that you can communicate with. It's great. Got little like help answers and things. But if you want to reach me, my email is Jeni, Jeni, at MagicSchool.ai. So you can.
And for teachers wanting to get started ASAP, what's the website?
MagicSchool.ai.
MagicSchool.ai.
And when you first sign up, you'll get 30 days to use all of the premium features. So it's a good way to kind of see what all there is. And then in 30 days, you'll be emailing me, hey, Jeni, I want all those premium features back. How do I get them?
That's right, yeah.
But all the tools are free. So you can have a really good experience using all of the tools. But there are some premium aspects within the tools that are really nice.
Changing the prompt kind of thing. Yeah, exporting. Yeah, absolutely. All right. That is quite a bit.
Yeah, and more's coming.
Updates and the number of tools in that is just
we're getting a complete facelift for back to school.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
A whole new look.
Oh boy.
Everything's going to be updated.
Here we go. And now you got like Andrew recreating all those videos and that.
So I was like, wait till everything changes, Andrew, then update everything.
Speaking of Andrew, did you know he knew how to rock the drums like he did at TCEA?
I did, yes.
I did not know.
I knew he had that secret talent. Yep. Yeah.
I was floored. I was absolutely
awesome. I've never
floored.
seen him do it, but I know he plays at church. And so when I saw him, though, that was so cool.
That was
so
awesome.
cool. Yeah.
That was pretty awesome.
We need to have another event where he can do that.
Yeah. Ooh.
That's a good idea. What can we do?
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Well, Jeni, thank you for everything that you do for our community, our students, our teachers, and what you guys over at Magic School are doing to equip our teachers with the tools to make their lives just a little bit easier, just kind of take a little bit of that load off of their shoulders so they could focus on the other important things as well. But keep doing what you're doing. Thank you. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for the friendship throughout the years. I know that you're talking to me as Jeni at MagicSchool.ai, but you and I have a personal friendship. So I want to thank you for that as well.
Well, those relationships mean the world to me, and that's where I feel like that community is so important because we have connections from people from all other companies and just different schools and interactions that become true friends. So I think that's
regardless of the logo that's on their shirt.
Yeah, for sure.
Sounds good. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your conference, and I cannot wait for trivia night.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm excited.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks,
Thank
Gabe.
you.